So, you remember about a month ago when we were talking about this Grimm contest that RWBY and Full Sail University were holding? Well, we have a follow-up to that situation. Not because of Rooster Teeth or Full Sail, but because of the marvelous RWBY community. Yep, great stuff. Let's take a look. Over on Nyannet, we have a wonderful report on this situation. We're going to go through the whole thing, and this is actually by our new contributor, Phoenix. Thank you very much, Phoenix. I hope you guys enjoyed this report. Look forward to going through it. Also, we have another contributor, Pendragon, who recently made a Beastars review. I believe he's working on another one. This is covering episodes 1 through 2. I think he's working on a video game review too. So Pendragon's going to be doing some opinion pieces for the most part, and Phoenix is going to help me out with some of the news stuff. Both those guys are awesome. I'm very grateful that they are helping me out over at the site. And here is the news. RWBY fan artist wrongfully forced to apologize over Wendigo art. Cancel culture strikes again. Let's see what Phoenix has to say. Imagine being an artist and working up the courage to share your drawing that you worked so hard on by posting it in the Full Sail University RWBY Grimm contest. Then, imagine your artwork was chosen as a top 5 finalist in the competition. This is exactly what happened to the fan artist Mayuki at Mayuki Art, who says, "I didn't expect to get top 5, she told me in a DM. Another quote, "I still think it's pure luck. I screamed and ran around my house when I saw it. It's not hard to see why she was chosen, huh?" Here is some of her Wendigo art, as you can see, very high quality. But unfortunately, things took a turn for the worse there, it seems. Let's continue on. If you saw this posted on her Twitter, the first thing that would come to your mind would probably be something like, "I should congratulate her for doing such a fantastic job and make sure she feels at welcome in the community by liking her tweet," right? It was obviously made with a lot of love, and there's no way anyone could have a problem with this, right? Unfortunately wrong. Apparently a user didn't like the fact that she called it a Wendigo, which is the mythical creature she took inspiration from. Also, I want to point out that Mayuki was wrongly accused of stealing this very design just days ago. So yes, there's two things to unpack right there. Let's get the scope of this picture. This artist Mayuki sees this contest with Rooster Teeth and Full Sail and decides that she just wants to submit her art. She makes this, Wendigo art. She submits it, and it's just supposed to be a innocent, happy little thing, right? A fun little contest. And then you end up getting accused of plagiarism from another artist in the RWBY community. And not only that, but other people in the RWBY community start accusing you of, they start being offended that you call it a Wendigo, and they start accusing you of some sort of buzzwords. We'll get to that next. We're going to start with the plagiarism accusation right here. Here we go, guys. My gosh. Jaybird says, "At Full Sail, at Rooster Teeth, one of your finalists for the Grimm competition has completely stolen the ideas and designs for this Grimm. It is clearly a ripoff of the hard work of the artist Eleanor Wright and I." Dude, how do you not think that multiple people getting inspiration from a Wendigo are not going to end up with similar Grimm designs? This is such a foolish take. Of course they're going to end up being similar. You're basing them off the same mythical creature. It's very obvious. Like, what the heck? Oh my gosh. So let's continue on. The quote tweet from Mayuki says, "Tomorrow we find out if I made the top 5 for the Full Sail RWBY Grimm contest. Spoiler alert, she did. If you want to support me and my art, here's a link to my Patreon. You'll get the art early, including works in process and pulls." It's probably works in progress. Process is an accounting thing. That's always stuck with me anyways. They did not have any permission. We're going back to Jaybird now. Jaybird says this. "They did not have any permission to use any part of this for inspiration or enter it in any sort of competition, nor did they even attempt to ask. You don't own the rights to a Wendigo. You are not the creator of a Wendigo. You both decided to make a Wendigo Grimm. How conceited or foolish or both do you have to be to go after an artist accusing her of plagiarism for taking inspiration from a mythical creature? This is such a bad look, in my opinion, on this artist's part, Jaybird. They didn't even ask permission." I can't get over that, man. And then they say, "Even the descriptions of the creature's behaviors are a total ripoff of our work." Yeah, almost like, again, they were basing it off of a mythical creature that has, been explained to act a certain way. Oh my gosh. Mayuki says this. "They are different. I have DM'd you everything about my Grimm." And by the way, before we even continue, can we just take a moment to acknowledge that they actually added Full Sail and Rooster Teeth? No formal email, no DM, which would be questionable enough because these accusations are absurd to me. Doing that would be ridiculous enough. But no, you're not going to do it in a professional way and, handle it in the back channels. You're just going to go right to Twitter and try to smear this artist on Twitter. What a joke. Mayuki says this. She responds and says, they are different. I have DM'd you everything about my Grimm compared to yours. They are similar in look because they are based off the same mythological creature. Yes, thank you, Mayuki. Thank you. It's insane to me, and it's extremely hilarious, too, that you actually had to explain that. It's unbelievable, really. So, we're not going to read this because it's a Twitter picture, so there's more to the text that gets cut off, and since this is an image of an image, we can't click it. So let's just continue on. I think most people here know what a Wendigo is. I tell you what, we'll read what we can see here. The Wendigo... Oh, so this is actually not the mythical Wendigo. This is the Grimm version. We'll read it anyways. The Wendigo is a loner Grimm that is always starving. Its semi-cloaked mist causes hallucinations in those who inhale it. Hallucinations consist of what they desire most. I thought of having them hallucinate food, so they think they are eating, but actually starving themselves to RIP, making it easier for the Wendigo to get them. I assume it says, it gets cut off, but there you go. There's some of the context. Sounds like a scary Grimm to me. Mayuki says, if you want to use the bones on the knees as an example of plagiarizing, I put the bones there because there was too much black and it needed a contrast of white. The only fur that is on my Grimm is the mane. The rest of him is covered in skin. Jaybird says, you have DM'd me examples of other Wendigo art out there. What? You've DM'd me examples of other Wendigo art out that were your... Okay, am I making a mistake here? It's probably my fault, to be fair. I do make reading mistakes more often than I like to admit. Let's try this again. You've DM'd me examples of other Wendigo art out that were... Okay, no, I think this is weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm being weird. You've DM'd me examples of other Wendigo art out that were your inspiration, which only further show just how similar yours is in comparison to Eleanor Wright's design. There are plenty of other ways you could have made yours different. Also, it's inexcusable to blatantly use such similar descriptions. I understand being inspired. However, simply changing the pose and the description wording was not enough to differentiate your creation. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. The biggest problem was there was no permission. What? You didn't ask. As an artist who graduated from a university. Let's twirl the mustache and everything. Yes, as an artist who actually graduated from a university, you should know that this is a huge common courtesy for our community. How pompous. This person, man. Oh my gosh. This is... Wow, okay. Mayuki says, I do not think, nor do I think they are the same in the slightest. I fully believe this is a coincidence. I'm quite upset at these accusations, just as you are upset about how similar these are. Mayuki is handling this pretty well, in my opinion. Person also chimes in and says, they aren't the same, don't worry. The only people saying that are jelly. Oh, by the way, Full Sail came out and ruled those allegations to be false. I'm going to cut this here so I can show you a bigger image. Okay, so the resolution is very scuffed on this image. I gotta kind of go through it in a weird way. You'll see, though. So, full disclaimer, I did redact the names. But if you don't believe me about this, you can see on Mayuki's Twitter with the on redactions. So, here's what the image says. Hi, blank. Thank you again for reaching out to us with the plagiarism accusations against your Grimm submission. After reviewing thoroughly with our art faculty and Rooster Teeth's animation team, we do not see any evidence of plagiarism. We will be, let me scroll it some more, one moment. We will be responding to blank with this information privately as well. Voting begins in about 30 minutes and has been extended until 11:59 p.m. on Monday, July 13th. Good luck. Sincerely, Holly Polker, Marketing Manager at Full Sail University. But remember, that was only one of two issues going on. People were accusing Mayuki of whatever this is. Let's take a look. They say, please don't vote for the Wendigo design, and they censor Wendigo. They say it's disrespectful. Here's a post explaining why. This is coming from a native, Plains Cree specifically. And then there's this. Give this post some extra context. RT is partnered with Full Sail University for a Grimm design contest. Someone submitted a design based on the Wendigo censored, a sacred spirit from various cultures. I'm not going to try to pronounce those because I don't think I will do it properly. Says, this is not okay because it's appropriation of Native American cultures. I checked. The submitter is not of those specific Native American groups. Why are you judging them based on their race, you bigot? Says, and also, there's just generally a massive taboo around the Wendigo, to the point where you're encouraged not to speak their name. Apparently, Wendigo is Voldemort or something. Hence why the name is being censored. Submissions have now closed, and the top 5 were revealed a few days ago, with the Wendigo design being selected as one of them. You can view them here, but voting doesn't open until July 6th. When the time comes, please do not vote for the Wendigo design. Dude, this is just pathetic. Also, please do not harass the artist nor RT over this. Yeah, we're just going to accuse them of basically being a terrible buzzword. And also, they got accused of plagiarism. We're going to accuse them of terrible, terrible things. But yeah, don't go after them. I don't think you're going to go after them, right? Psh, come on, man. This has more than likely come from a place of ignorance, not of active malice. All of this isn't widespread knowledge to the point where Wikipedia makes no mention of the taboo against speaking its name. Please remember to be kind, especially... Remember to be kind as you're inciting a witch hunt against somebody. The lack of self-awareness, man. Shocking. Shocking. Please remember to be kind, especially if you're not the people affected by this. And here's what our buddy Phoenix has to say. Now, I happen to be a quarter Cherokee Indian myself. My great-grandmother was a full-blooded Cherokee Indian. And I have to say, I have no idea what this user is talking about. She would tell me stories all the time. And let me just say, shout out to Phoenix's great-grandmother. And why not grandmother while we're at it? Grandma, too. Shouts out to Grandma. She would tell me that the mythological creature would prey on those that would commit the terrible act of cannibalism, and that it could also prey upon you in your dreams. And yes, she did say that she did her best not to say its name, but did she throw a fit if she heard it? No. She understood that back in early Native American history, cannibalism was a serious problem due to the harsh winters of the North American and Canadian landscape. Wow, we're getting a history lesson here, kind of. To combat this, the Wendigo was created and was said to prey upon anyone foolish enough to resort to the terrible act. Later on, the Wendigo was also associated with human greed and gluttony, while others believe it might actually represent the Native Americans' response to the horrific, violent acts unleashed on them by early settlers. Even if it is taboo to speak its name, the saying, "God dang," is also taboo to Catholics. And I don't see everyone who says that getting shunned. And then we have this picture. What's this? It says, while it's a mythos belonging to a culture, all creatures we classify as cryptids or mythological do. There's nothing racist or appropriating a culture about it. If you're basing a Grimm off it, it's racist, then My Little Pony is too for having Wendigos in the second season. What? Oh my gosh, man. After getting a lot of hate, Mayuki finally gave in and started considering changing the name to appease the people trying to cancel her. They speak inclusivity until someone says something they don't like, and then they jump straight to trying to cancel them. When I asked Mayuki, oh, is it? Oh, okay. No, it is Mayuki. Okay. I'll fix this part in the article. When I asked Mayuki how she felt about receiving hate like that, she said, with them, here's a quote, with them saying not to vote, it ruined my chance to win. I wouldn't say that much. I don't think that person has much pull. And by the way, if you guys like this Wendigo design and you want to vote for it, link in the description and also in the pinned comment. Just saying. So the quote, with them saying not to vote, it ruined my chance to win. I was shaking and angry and upset when it all occurred. Phoenix continues on and says, she's also an artist full-time who works for commission, so something like this could really hurt her financially regarding Mayuki. I'm sure the poster, wanting her to consider their feelings, already thought of what their post might do to her reputation and her chance of winning, and just decided to post it anyway. Yep. After going through all of that, the very first thing she told me was, a quote, I don't want to send hate towards anyone. Wow, Mayuki seems to be much more mature and respectable than those going after her, from what I've seen at least. Says, she's such a kind soul, and I think she's too good for Twitter. She should come over to the Hero Hey Discord server, Hero Haven. There's even a RWBY section in the Discord that would love to see her art and appreciate it. And for the record, I will be sending another invite out soon. The Discord is open to the public. It's not blocked by a paywall or anything. It's just that at the moment we have like 4,000 members, and yeah, I'm just kind of limiting when I send invites out. That's all that's going on with that. Anyways, the article ends with this. We really don't like to see good people subjected to cancel culture, especially those who don't deserve it. So from us here at Nyanet, we'd like to send a big congratulations to Mayuki for making some wonderful artwork and making the top 5 in the competition. Hopefully, this doesn't have to end up as a bad experience for her, which is why I hope all of you will consider voting for her here to show that she did nothing wrong and isn't something she should feel bad about. If you'd like, you can also give her a follow on Twitter here. Here's hoping to see more great things from Mayuki soon, and please don't give up on your passions. We all support you. And there's, the links, hyperlinks in the article to her socials, but I'll link them in the description too if you want to consider giving her a follow or just checking out more of her art. Now, I will add this part in because I find it amusing. I took a look at the artist who was going after Mayuki, Jaybird, and they also added this. They retweeted their own tweet when they were adding Full Sail and Rooster Teeth, the one we went over already, and then they said this: "The issue is being dealt with. Let me be very clear. No one is attacking anyone." Dude, you accused her of being basically a terrible person for multiple reasons. What? How could you possibly act like you have done nothing wrong here? Then they say, "This was to protect our past work and the ideas involved. In the future, just ask permission when using others' ideas as inspiration." Yeah, except it seems that Rooster Teeth and Full Sail don't agree with you at all. And by the way, I took a look to see if this person ever apologized or acknowledged that they were apparently wrong, and I didn't see any such thing. You know, I almost feel bad for Rooster Teeth that their community has become one of the worst on the internet, it seems. And it's not everyone. You know, Mayuki seems cool and she's a part of the RWBY community. So not everyone's bad. That's just one example. But by large and large, man, the community has certainly gone down a toxic route over the years. Like this person in the RWBY community who has tried to cancel Mayuki. And all the people agreeing with them and stuff. How pathetic is that? So I'd feel bad for Rooster Teeth that their community has turned into such a terrible place. But the reason I don't is because Rooster Teeth apparently, you know, likes to get these kind of people in the community. They push out the old fans. They bring these new ones in. The new ones hate the old ones. And what does Rooster Teeth do on top of all that? They give you price hikes. If you want to support them, if you're an old fan, you got to pay Rooster Teeth even more money on top of the fact that a lot of people in the community probably don't like you. What a mess. I don't feel bad for RT. I almost do, but they chose this route. Anyways, that's the news, my friends. I hope you enjoyed. Again, links in the description and pinned comment, and another thanks to Phoenix for your work on this. Great work, buddy. Thank you all for tuning in, and I look forward to catching you next time.
Justice on his resume, superheroes don't need an application. He's here for fun, but don't take him lightly.